Welcome to Switzerland. Did you know that our country is not just a great place to visit, but also your first-class business location? We are centrally located in Europe and we have the world's best infrastructure. Oh, and the train is always on time, so let's take a journey. Did you know that Switzerland has 4 official languages? Ja? No? Forse? Decidia? Don't worry, we also have excellent English skills. However, we don't spend all day chatting. We love to work. In 2012, we could have voted for longer holidays, and we voted against them. It's crazy, isn't it? But we're not crazy. Our economy and government are among the world's most stable. That, combined with our outstanding talent pool and a deregulated labor market, makes Switzerland the most innovative and competitive nation in the world. Our Swiss dual education system provides an excellent mix of both vocational education and apprenticeships. Now let's take a look at industry. Maybe Germany, the United States, and China are well known for their industrial output. But did you know that Swiss industrial production per capita beats all of them? Sorry, guys. Our country is small, but hey, 3 Swiss companies are among the global top 20 most valuable companies. Furthermore, we offer the best quality of life. That's why 3 Swiss cities are among the world's best for the highest quality of living. In addition, Switzerland is one of the happiest nations on the globe. Perhaps because we eat on average 12 kilograms of chocolate per year? Switzerland is the best location for innovation, has stable political, economic, and financial conditions, has the highest living standard, and welcomes your business. So tell us now, when will you invest in Switzerland? Switzerland Global Enterprise, enabling new business. Find out more at s-ge.com.
For us in the Aditya Birla Group, Odisha has been one of our most preferred investment destinations. Chief Minister Shri Naveen Patnaik's exceptional leadership has been the singular factor in the rapid progress of Odisha. The state government has leveraged its competitive advantages, including its progressive policies and governance framework, are a big pull factor.
Welcome you to Odisha. Come, join the juggernaut.
In healthcare, a vast ecosystem is helping therapy innovators become more patient-centric and more effective than ever before. Cytiva supports researchers, biopharma, and clinicians in the pursuit of more targeted treatments. In discovery, speed and accuracy are everything. The faster and smarter researchers can work, the more patients benefit. To ensure that new, more targeted therapies become reality, we're equipping biomanufacturers with the tools and expertise they need to produce cost-effectively and quickly. How can tens of thousands of individualized patient doses be manufactured quickly, efficiently, and securely? The answer, with a healthy dose of expertise and innovation. We're creating processes and solutions that are scalable and address complex needs. We work to deliver diagnostic tools and other technologies to bring the right therapy to the right patient at the right time, so that life-saving medicines come within the reach of more people and could save more lives. Cell culture, protein purification, biomarker imaging, and analysis. It may not be what most think about when envisioning the future of healthcare, but this is what we do. Our part in changing the world. Advancing and accelerating. Discovery, manufacturing, diagnostics, future therapeutics.
road to regulatory compliance is long and filled with choices. With a combination of standards, process, and service, USP can help guide your path to compliant, quality products. Trust the standard that sets the benchmark for medicines. Our robust and collaborative scientific process is part of our comprehensive approach. We offer reference standards that are tied to USP monographs to help you minimize risk and enhance your confidence in compliance. Reduce time and resources spent developing in-house standards and streamline your path to regulatory compliance. We work with independent, volunteer scientific experts who rigorously review and approve our standards, which undergo testing by USP and other laboratories around the world. Ongoing testing of our standards helps ensure the quality of your product over time. And only USP reference standards are linked to official USP NF monographs that provide specifications for the identity, purity, and potency to meet FDA requirements without further in-house qualification and the needs of our global customers. With USP, you have access to our in-house scientific experts to guide you every step of the way. In addition to our best-in-class USP reference standards, we offer training, education, and other services. Our online resources help smooth your path to regulatory compliance. Our standards provide precise testing and validation guidelines, as well as reference samples for testing. Drugs can be made consistently every time. We are more than reference standards. We provide a unique combination of standards, process, and service. From buying to applying standards, we support your bottom line with reference standards that have been rated best in class by our customers. Talk with us to find out how we can help you navigate your journey to regulatory compliance. Contact USP at usp.org.
Welcome to Switzerland. Did you know that our country is not just a great place to visit, but also your first-class business location? We are centrally located in Europe, and we have the world's best infrastructure. Oh, and the train is always on time, so let's take a journey. Did you know that Switzerland has 4 official languages? Ja? No? Forse? Decidia? Don't worry, we also have excellent English skills. However, we don't spend all day chatting. We love to work. In 2012, we could have voted for longer holidays, and we voted against them. It's crazy, isn't it? But we're not crazy. Our economy and government are among the world's most stable. That, combined with our outstanding talent pool and a deregulated labor market, makes Switzerland the most innovative and competitive nation in the world. Our Swiss dual education system provides an excellent mix of both vocational education and apprenticeships. Now let's take a look at industry. Maybe Germany, the United States, and China are well known for their industrial output. But did you know that Swiss industrial production per capita beats all of them? Sorry, guys. Our country is small, but hey, 3 Swiss companies are among the global top 20 most valuable companies. Furthermore, we offer the best quality of life. That's why 3 Swiss cities are among the world's best for the highest quality of living. In addition, Switzerland is one of the happiest nations on the globe. Perhaps because we eat on average 12 kilograms of chocolate per year? Switzerland is the best location for innovation, has stable political, economic, and financial conditions, has the highest living standard, and welcomes your business. So tell us now, when will you invest in Switzerland? Switzerland Global Enterprise, enabling new business. Find out more at s-ge.com.
For us in the Aditya Birla Group, Odisha has been one of our most preferred investment destinations. Chief Minister Shri Naveen Patnaik's exceptional leadership has been the singular factor in the rapid progress of Odisha. The state government has leveraged its competitive advantages, including its progressive policies and governance framework, are a big pull factor.
I welcome you to Odisha. Come, join the Juggernaut.
In healthcare, a vast ecosystem is helping therapy innovators become more patient-centric and more effective than ever before. Cytiva supports researchers, biopharma, and clinicians in the pursuit of more targeted treatments. In discovery, speed and accuracy are everything. The faster and smarter researchers can work, the more patients benefit. To ensure that new, more targeted therapies become reality, we're equipping biomanufacturers with the tools and expertise they need to produce cost-effectively and quickly. How can tens of thousands of individualized patient doses be manufactured quickly, efficiently, and securely? The answer, with a healthy dose of expertise and innovation. We're creating processes and solutions that are scalable and address complex needs. We work to deliver diagnostic tools and other technologies to bring the right therapy to the right patient at the right time, so that life-saving medicines come within the reach of more people and could save more lives. Cell culture, protein purification, biomarker imaging, and analysis. It may not be what most think about when envisioning the future of healthcare, but this is what we do. Our part in changing the world. Advancing and accelerating. Discovery, manufacturing, diagnostics, future therapeutics.
The road to regulatory compliance is long and filled with choices. With a combination of standards, process, and service, USP can help guide your path to compliant, quality products. Trust the standard that sets the benchmark for medicines. Our robust and collaborative scientific process is part of our comprehensive approach. We offer reference standards that are tied to USP monographs to help you minimize risk and enhance your confidence in compliance. Reduce time and resources spent developing in-house standards and streamline your path to regulatory compliance. We work with independent, volunteer scientific experts who rigorously review and approve our standards, which undergo testing by USP and other laboratories around the world. Ongoing testing of our standards helps ensure the quality of your product over time, and only USP reference standards are linked to official USP NF monographs that provide specifications for the identity, purity, and potency to meet FDA requirements without further in-house qualification and the needs of our global customers. With USP, you have access to our in-house scientific experts to guide you every step of the way. In addition to our best-in-class USP reference standards, we offer training, education, and other services. Our online resources help smooth your path to regulatory compliance. Our standards provide precise testing and validation guidelines, as well as reference samples for testing. Drugs can be made consistently every time. We are more than reference standards. We provide a unique combination of standards, process, and service. From buying to applying standards, we support your bottom line with reference standards that have been rated best in class by our customers. Talk with us to find out how we can help you navigate your journey to regulatory compliance. Contact USP at usp.org.
Welcome to Switzerland. Did you know that our country is not just a great place to visit, but also your first-class business location? We are centrally located in Europe, and we have the world's best infrastructure. Oh, and the train is always on time, so let's take a journey. Did you know that Switzerland has 4 official languages? Ja? No? Forse? Decidia? Don't worry, we also have excellent English skills. However, we don't spend all day chatting. We love to work. In 2012, we could have voted for longer holidays, and we voted against them. It's crazy, isn't it? But we're not crazy. Our economy and government are among the world's most stable. That, combined with our outstanding talent pool and a deregulated labor market, makes Switzerland the most innovative and competitive nation in the world. Our Swiss dual education system provides an excellent mix of both vocational education and apprenticeships. Now let's take a look at industry. Maybe Germany, the United States, and China are well known for their industrial output. But did you know that Swiss industrial production per capita beats all of them? Sorry, guys. Our country is small, but hey, 3 Swiss companies are among the global top 20 most valuable companies. Furthermore, we offer the best quality of life. That's why 3 Swiss cities are among the world's best for the highest quality of living. In addition, Switzerland is one of the happiest nations on the globe. Perhaps because we eat on average 12 kilograms of chocolate per year? Switzerland is the best location for innovation, has stable political, economic, and financial conditions, has the highest living standard, and welcomes your business. So tell us now, when will you invest in Switzerland? Switzerland Global Enterprise, enabling new business. Find out more at s-ge.com.
Yes. A very good evening and warm welcome to one and all for Women Entrepreneurs Conclave. We would all agree that women entrepreneurs are key to economic growth of any country. They have become the vital part of Indian economic growth and prosperity. This conclave brings us an opportunity to listen to the prominent leaders from across the globe. This conclave will reflect the inspiring journeys, experiences of real-life role models, various initiatives and measures taken to boost women entrepreneurship in biotech sector. And for this conclave, we are honored to have with us today Ms. Kavita Iyer, co-founder and CEO Zumitor Biologics India, Dr. Iris Good, Chairman of Good Relations India and Imperial College Fund UK, Ms. Anat Bernstein, Chairperson of Israel, India, Sri Lanka and Nepal Chambers of Commerce, and co-founder and Managing Director, A&G Partners Israel. Ms. Egne, CEO at CureLine Baltic and Vice President and Executive Director of Lithuanian Biotechnology Association, Lithuania. Ms. Anupam Nayak, founder and CEO of Indovan Medical Robotics, the Netherlands. Ms. Mamta Kohli, Senior Social Development Advisor at Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, India. And Ms. Gitika Dayal, Executive Director, TIE Delhi NCR, as the moderator for the session. May I request Ms. Gitika to take on the proceedings of this conclave. Over to you, please.
Thank you so much, Taranjeet, and our warmest gratitude to BIRAC for this opportunity. Really, it's such a privilege for TIE Delhi NCR to be able to partner with you for working towards building a robust startup ecosystem. At this Women Entrepreneurship Conclave at Global Bio India, I'm truly delighted to be in the company of such accomplished individuals. And I really look forward to learning as much as possible from them. And I hope that our audience will have the same opportunity as well. Sometimes I think we are reliving the famous lines by Charles Dickens. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. This unexpected pandemic halted us all in our tracks and wreaked havoc across the world. Health, economy, and even the very social fabric took a big hit. It really was the worst of times. Yet it showed us how to do more with less, how to adapt. People spent time with families, focused on health, mental and physical well-being. But most importantly, it was the best of times for the most rapid adoption of technology that we have seen so far. And we got to see the sheer resilience of founders, the collaboration among investors, and the approach of policymakers to step up to the need of the hour. And I think that is something we have a lot to be grateful for. Again, there is no denying the fact that women across the world are driving transformation with unflinching determination and diligence. And many people on this panel will actually, show you what the role models are like. Taranjeet today has, of course, given us a job to be thorough with this panel of women leaders from across the globe for highlighting the challenges as well as the learnings from their respective experiences and insights. So I don't want to take up too much time because there's a lot that we want to cover through these 45 minutes. I want to start with you, Anupam. As a founder, that's where my startup heart beats. So I'm going to straight first go to the founders themselves. So Anupam, my question to you is you're the founder and CEO of Eindhoven Medical Robotics. The success of any company depends on forging collaborations and building bridges without geographical boundaries. You are based in Netherlands. How did you and your team, your company, within such a short span of 3 years, build an ecosystem of partners in India with DBT and with various engineering and medical academic research centers to bring the best from the Netherlands and India together? It couldn't have been easy, but we'd love to know more about it, and hopefully it will help many people in the audience get tips from that as well.
Thank you, Gitika. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, absolutely.
So I just want to give you a bit of a background. So I'm an engineer by profession and at heart. So building robots comes from this region, which is the high-tech precision capital of the world. So this region builds machines which make some of the most complex chips in the world and is a world leader for that. So with a rich background, Philips and working with such precision partners in the region, that gave a very rich base for us to think about what could be the next industry that could spurt from here. So it was a startup with a totally different ambition of starting an industry and not so much one product to meet one surgical need. So when you're thinking in such terms and in terms of economies of scale, the first thing that you do is how do you build not only your team and company, but the ecosystem that's going to sustain in order to get these products to market. And that's where the whole foundation of the company stems from. So if you look at our partners, we have about 600 around the world, and, which is very rich in engineering. We have quite a few in the region, in our neighborhood, who support us with things in design and manufacturing. And of course, when I look at India and the enormous amount of intelligence in the youth, the education, be it in engineering or in medical schools, and the need to really bridge the gap between people who do not have access to safe and affordable surgery and to the hospitals, the entrepreneurs who are starting hospitals themselves. So it was no second thoughts when I, having lived here for 20 years, decided to start. Then that was the first place that I decided to set my foot outside the Netherlands. We had a very good response. So this is from various centers in Mumbai, Bangalore, Vellore, Chennai, and some of the top hospitals in research, which together with DBT are in new tech in India itself. So partnering with them gave us the much needed opportunity to understand different markets, to see if I make a product here, how will it work and be useful in India too. And that took me quite a lot of time. So although I set up my company in 2018, I've been working with Indian partners from Philips, which was a rich history, of course, in India. But way back in 2015 also, when I approached these hospitals with our partners, it was a very welcome open door, and which I appreciate very much. So,
Gitika, unmute yourself. Yes.
yes.
My apologies. Despite so many of these events, this still tends to happen, right? So sorry. Okay, Agni, I wanted to check with you because you have a very interesting perspective as well. You've been a co-founder of a life science startup and are now also actively involved as an expert in EU programs. You consult with biotech companies in life science product development management. You are also involved with government organizations such as Enterprise Lithuania, Science Innovation and Technology Agency, Invest Lithuania as well. And you've been elected the Vice President of the Lithuanian Biotechnology Association. You have started with your team, Women in Biotech. Tell us a little bit about it and how do you see it creating and empowering a generation of women leaders?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Getika, for the question. So I'm really happy to talk about it because it's really something that comes from the heart, from the passion, from the experience that I had when building a startup myself and really seeing how small support from another women entrepreneurship we have around. And it's just not because there's no goodwill, but there's just very little of such women leaders in our field. Although if we look at the, for instance, EU statistics, Lithuania, where I'm come from, is one of the leading countries if we look at the statistics of women working in science and engineering field. So it's over 57% are women. And when we started talking that we want to do a program, an initiative to support and to encourage women leadership, everyone said, look, there's so many women in the field, everything is fine, everything is pretty good. And actually, when we pointed out that the taking leadership roles, for instance, the CEOs in a company or even in academia, top researchers or top directors are all men. So we thought that this is an opportunity to show and inspire other women that there are leaders around the world and amazing leaders. I'm so honorable to be here today and this just look at this panel. So there are leaders that could show and be a role model for other, specifically young scientists, young entrepreneurs, to seek their ideas, to be brave. So we started this platform with an inspirational speakers to present their stories, and we will follow this year as well with a mentorship program that definitely will boost up, empower this initiative a little bit more. So we really are collaborating with various countries in the world. As I mentioned, we have very few leaders in our small country in Lithuania, so we really want to make it an international program for women to get more motivation and inspiration, that it's really, it is always hard to take up big challenges, but they're worth it. And I think that the panelists will agree that at the end, it's something that if you have a drive in your heart to move forward, the innovations to create or to commercialize or to grow, so it's always possible.
Yeah, that's great. And, you know, this panel therefore highlights how good it is to actually have this global exchange of ideas and best practices, because very often the challenges or the issues are the same everywhere across the world. And to be able to know about the wonderful work that you are doing and have initiated, I think more power to you, really. With that, I would also like to come to somebody who has accomplished a tremendous amount of success in not only their own personal and professional career, but also again enabling other startups and other women founders to succeed. Dr. Iris Good. Iris is chairman of Good Relations India, Imperial College Seed Fund, and the Health Tech Challenge at London Business School. You have been involved in entrepreneurship, technology innovation, and commercialization for 25 years and have long years of 20 years or 2 decades of experience of market expansion in India as well. And of course, you worked, served on several boards in UK, in Israel, and in India. You're a mentor at the Cambridge Judge Business School, where we, as part of TIE, when we ran a competition for some of our founders, here we used to actually send them to Cambridge Business School as part of their prize to go and learn from this program. We'd love to share, for you to have you share your journey in setting up a medical device company, UltraShape. Your experiences during fundraising, market expansion, and especially commercialization, and how did you end up, then having your company acquired? Because I know many founders struggle to get their innovations commercialized. Your insights would be extremely useful here.
Iris, you're on
Iris.
Dr. Iris, you're on mute.
Yes, same problem again. Hi, everybody. It's a real pleasure to be on this forum. Thank you, Gitika, for your kind introduction, and Bayrak, which I salute to, for organizing this and empowering young entrepreneurs and women in particular. I think that I would probably share some of my journey with young scientists in the audience, and show them that life really starts outside of your comfort zone. I started as a PhD in biochemistry at the Weizmann Institute in Israel. I followed up with 2 postdocs, and it looked like I'm going into the path of being a scientist, which I loved in every cell of my body. But then I've always been intrigued by power of markets, power of people, and globalization, and I could see how an idea can be buried in a lab and die anonymously, while another can expand worldwide and make a difference everywhere. So this was probably the driving force that pushed me into entrepreneurship. Setting up a medical device company needed a multidisciplinary understanding, which was, I found, really exciting. And I cannot tell you that the amount of struggle is daily. If you like struggling to raise funds, to develop market fit product, to hire people that became your new family and share the journey with you, you have to be a certain person. Probably you have to be the last of the optimists and just enjoy the journey, enjoy the target. And during the days, you have to just dust yourself and keep up and keep thinking about the big picture. Don't take things personally when people sometimes insult you, when you try to raise funds, and learn from it. And I think that every experience that you've had, if you learn something from, it's not a waste and it's not a failure. So, for example, I learned that I should be proud when I raise funds. I actually have the treasure. The investors have the money. So it's a win-win if we join forces. So I am an equal when I come in. And lots of such small vignettes that you can turn into your success and your story. Talking about UltraShape, I think you have to create a product for your clients rather than look for the clients for a product that you fall in love with. Make sure that the market needs it. Make sure that you are genuine, you're honest, you have people to trust you, and the world will be in your oyster. UltraShape started as a dream. Then we created a product. We kept going to the market and we kept asking doctors, is it good? Is it the way you want it? Is it nice? Will you use it? What is the price tag? Etc. etc. We created it into a worldwide success, and then we were acquired. We were very happy and proud. But a journey of an entrepreneur, once your company is acquired, you're looking for the next one. And I hope that this will be something that everybody carries it from here. Thank you very much.
No, thanks, Harris. I think, the views that you've shared, the points that you've raised, extremely pertinent, and I hope the audience is there listening to it, noting it down. It will come in handy for sure. But I'm going to stay with UK, and I'm going to stay with funding for just a little bit more. As I turn to Mamta Kohli is the senior advisor for FCDO India, previously known as DFID, where you're focused on enabling more safer and better economic opportunities for women, more finance and business development support, innovation and tech, and shift institutional biases and norms. I know you are very passionate about this. And research is showing more and more that women are giving better returns on investment as well. So I wanted to turn the topic a little bit with you towards gender lens investing, which is about investing for financial return, but also considering the benefits to women through improving their economic as well as social opportunities. Would love to hear your views on that, Mamta, and what do you think should be done in this area?
Thanks, Gitika. You're absolutely right. The research shows that more value, more valuation. It shows higher revenue, and it shows more competitive differentiation. You're able to create a competitive identity for your products and services. So I really do think that this idea of what is called gender lens investing is taking very firm seeds, is taking very firm ground across the impact investment space. And when we talk about it, I mean, if I look at the data for the last 2 years, from 2017, it was 1.1 billion, it's gone up to 4.8 billion, which is pretty impressive. It's a good growth. Still not sufficient enough. In India, it's only about 12% women-led businesses that have, received investment in 2019, I think. Anyway, just very quickly to say that, when we talk about gender lens investing framework, and my colleagues here, they sort of actually personify it more than anything. We're talking about women in leadership positions. We're talking about gender equitable workforce, enough jobs and opportunities for women as part of the workforce. Value chains that are sourcing from women, these value chains that are inclusive, products and services that target women, and at the very, very minimum, the enterprise is do no harm. Ideally, we should be doing a lot more. So, what is it, and what are some of the research again points to some of the biases um, in this space? So it's not that the investors are not keen to look at it, or anybody would brush it aside and say, no, don't talk to us about it. It's also some of the inherent biases that we have, and those biases exist in the way we look at products and services and what we associate with women. They'll probably be only in beauty and lifestyle, and if they come in something like biotech, which all of our panelists are, they'll be, a deeper scrutiny. I mean, experience and question, also shows that they are questioned more about preventive, sort of how will you mitigate risks, and less about their vision. And also about their life cycle, at whatever stage they are in life, how will they manage their work and their, personal life? That's always a question that hit at I think then their own personal biases. How do you undermine yourself, and you limit yourself by your own beliefs? I think that's again big bias that all of us live with. This basic conditioning that girls are not meant for science. And the most fundamental bias I think personally, in my view, is around the design. I mean, how we design products and services. And there's this absolutely great report that has come out as to how invisible women are in any kind of design and testing. I mean, so much so car seats have never been tested for women. Many of the medical products, I think it's 20 to 25% of drugs only have been tested on women. So it's all done for, able-bodied men, as I call it, under 40 able-bodied men maybe. So like I said, there is no argument. There's enough business case for it to do it. And there are, I think, 3 or 4 ways that, we can work with the sector to do it. One is around deals. Where do you source them from? How do you structure them? How do you identify the risks? And now, again, there's enough evidence that if you don't factor in gender analysis, don't consider that as a risk, then, your it can escalate into a big risk for you as a company. Have more diversity on your investment team, And like I said, the design thinking, how are your products and services, how you're designing it from an inclusive perspective as well. Accessibility is now absolutely centered to it, and from a women's perspective. And how is your distribution channel going to access it? So finally, at the end of it, I would just say, so there is, of course, a business case, but there's also a social and moral case for it. We're not just creating startups and enterprises. We do a lot of work in that space, but we're really creating safe and good jobs. We're creating cultures, work cultures that permeate our lives, that permeate our homes. And finally, we're creating excellent role models. I mean, all the entire panelists, all the panelists here are the kind of role models that we want to create and we want to inspire young people to work on. So that's it from me, Gitika. I mean, it's a new space. We really need to ground it. There is enough interest. We just need to get a few partners to demonstrate how it can be done and how it can be done well. UK has actually done a lot of work in this space with CDC and others, IFC, CDC. So yeah, there's a lot of work that we can learn from. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think you're right. It's more about the mindset and perspective shift, and it's not difficult. It's not sort of really rocket science if one can see from this panel itself. So you're right about that, absolutely. Anat, whenever one talks of startups and innovation, Israel pops up in the mind as the first country to talk about, and you've been at the center of it all with being the chairperson of Israel, India, Sri Lanka and Nepal Chambers of Commerce, Vice President, Israel Asia Chambers of Commerce, Executive Committee member at the Israeli Binational Chambers of Commerce, President TAI Israel, and chairperson the Agribator, which is the Center for Israeli AgTech in India. I wanted to ask you to share with us if you can talk about some case studies or role models that you have seen coming out of women in the Israeli biotech ecosystem and their contribution to the world. And just unmute yourself.
Thanks, Gitika. A pleasure to be here with all the friends, the new and the old. You spoke about role model, and I'd like to relate to what Dr. Iris just said, talking about role model. And I need to share with you a small gossip. Okay?
We love that.
Yeah, of course. Everybody loves gossip. When Dr. Iris Good spoke about her startup and her journey, she was actually a role model to her daughter that followed her and had a month back a big exit to her startup.
Wow.
So, and she will not tell you that, but this is exactly what we are here. We are here to be the role model for the next generation. And when I'm looking at the Israeli biotech, there are two women that are really the center of the Israeli biotech, but they didn't make the extra mile out of the academia. And I'm talking about the Nobel Prize winner, Professor Ada Yonat from the Weizmann Institute, that her colleagues always, that's what she is saying, her colleagues always told her, what you're doing will not work, it's not important. And eventually in 2009, she won the Nobel Prize for understanding how the ribosome structure is, and actually it allows us to develop new antibodies. And when she is talking about her journey, she is talking about her persistence, about the fact that she initially had to clean houses in order to support herself. Eventually, she was among the first leading women in the Weizmann Institute. So Ada Yonat definitely created, I would say, a legacy, a new generation of students that are following her. The second lady that is very vibrant in Israel, and Professor Ada Yonat is young, she is only 81. The second one is actually 87. Professor Ruth Arnon, that developed the multiple sclerosis Copaxone that became a lead drug for Teva Pharmaceutical. And she continues to be active in the Israeli biotech even today when she's 87. And recently, a company that, based on her research, Beyond Vax, developing a multi-strain vaccination for influenza. So apparently their recent trial didn't, that they are continuing. And this lady created several startups and several success stories. Her students are now entrepreneurs that are taking the development from the lab to reality. And when I'm talking about that, I will add another factor which is really important in Israel, and those are the TTOs, the Technology Transfer Officer in each university. Let it be Yisum, let it be Yeda for the Weizmann Institute. And both Iris and I are very close to the Weizmann Institute. And the beauty is that when a scientist works in the lab, immediately it is converted into a patent. The thought is how we can commercialize it. And then the scientists and also the lady scientists are able to take it from the lab bench actually to the park next to the Weizmann, which is the science park. And over there, they start their startups based on research done in the academia with the support of the TTO that patent it and help them to get to money, to get to pharma company, to get to additional entrepreneurs. And this is a sort of an ecosystem that allows entrepreneurship in general, but also ladies and entrepreneurs to take their lab research and commercialize it. So this is a unique ecosystem or system that I see very strong in Israel, and I recommend a lot of the ecosystems to copy it.
Right, and if this doesn't inspire us, I think nothing will really. That was truly inspirational. Kavita, let me come to you. And I am absolutely fascinated by what I have read about you. You've been in the space of biotech for 20 years. You worked across large biopharmas like Biocon. During these 20 years, and in biotech, I would call 20 years a short duration because it often has a very long gestation period to build a biotech company. You have, founded a startup, you have sold your startup as well, and you have now founded another startup, Zumator, which we have now here, Zumator Biologics, which has 5 major VCs participating in value creation in this very niche space of immuno-oncology. And somewhere in the middle of all of that, you also find time to include other interests like marathons, triathlons, hiking, and have won several awards within this young age, I would say. It couldn't have been all easy. It's an inspirational story, but it couldn't have been easy. Tell us about some of the challenges you faced, and especially about your fundraising journey, because very often women founders tell us that investors question their commitment to the business and how they will juggle family and their startup journey. So we'd love to hear your experiences as well.
Yeah, thanks so much, Geetika, and thanks for the kind words. And this is indeed an awesome panel. As I was hearing Anupam and Iris and connect with you folks for looking forward to kind of connecting with. So this is great. So thanks for making this connect for me. You probably, Anupam would know this, right? If you're generally from a technology angle and the approach that folks would take in house it outside, right? Because all of these things that are value creational has to be held outside, monetized outside, and in Zumator, right? We flipped the company with a wholly owned sub here in India, doing all of the work. Having said that, and that being kind of the forward-looking goal for Zumator in the immuno-oncology space, I still believe India is great by means of what it's building out now, right? With opportunity together, etc. I think there is a journey, hard one, kind of change that I myself have seen in this startup versus the previous one, especially with the amount of work that's going on at the government level, at the funding level, ecosystems coming together.
I think Kavita's probably. Kavita, do you want to just for a minute? Kavita, do you want to try switching off your camera and then speaking? We seem to be having some connectivity issues there. Kavita, you were not audible. Could you try again with just switching off your camera once? Go ahead, Kavita. Let's see if we can hear you now.
He needs to unmute though.
Yeah, it's unmute. So maybe we'll jump back to Kavita when the connection comes back again. But Anupam, I want to take a little thoughts from you, because there's one of the things that we are very keen with startups, and in fact FCDO and TIE are collaborating towards creating sustainability, and we want to talk about how startups actually should consider sustainability as one of the key goals even as they start to build out, rather than think of it at a much later stage of their journey. Do share with us how Eindhoven Medical Robotics meets the sustainable development goals that are set out by UN.
So one of the things very important for us was working in close relationships with the World Health Organization and United Nations, because my surgical robots focus on the first two important applications, which is preventing infant blindness and also assisting with the reflux of your hearing loss. So that brings us into a perspective of ensuring that this reaches the masses in a very sustainable way. So finding safety, reliability, having good clinical practices in order to ensure that your devices are developed in a sustainable manner was very important for us. We did sign the Sustainable Development Goals. There was an initiative in the Netherlands to invite companies like ours to join up. There were programs to educate us as startups in order to make this happen. And we did continue further. I'm setting up a center for robot-assisted surgery, and we do take these practices into account as we build our preclinical evidence or educate the surgeons of the future. So it has been quite an enriching experience, not only learning what needs to be done, but handling it down our ecosystem and the partnership chain in order to make the products possible to reach to market in a very sustainable way. We also build this into our development chain, in the manufacturing, in the choices we make. We respect to electronics, power, etc. And that's how we get it done.
And you find that it's actually possible to do it. It's not something that takes away from, your focus on the business or from a cost perspective, etc. Right?
No, it has. You're very right about it. So it has, in fact, assisted us further to give a thought to every aspect that we consider in our business in a very, in a very pragmatic way, but also keeping in mind the environment and the ecosystems that we live in.
Yeah.
So it was not an additional burden or a hurdle to cross. It was just something that accelerated our path to where we wanted to be.
Yeah, I hope every founder is listening to this. Agni, let me ask you something.
since you've seen both sides of the coin. What do you think would be some of the things that policymakers or investors or enabling organizations can do to actually facilitate the journey or reduce the knowledge gap amongst entrepreneurs? Are there some things that you think could be potentially done to create a better ecosystem to share knowledge and best practices?
Yes, thank you for the question. I think there's always some good examples to look at. And like Anna just described the examples of this academia, then moving to the technology park and having like acceleration, incubation, all the processes. And there's always gaps that needs to be filled or improved. So I think that from any aspect, whether we start from academia setting, stakeholders, different stakeholders has different aspects to look at. And I think that the government input, yes, to this, or focus on the field and empowering, encouraging this field to grow is one of the key things. And I'm really I think that Lithuania is in very happy position on that, as we have a huge support from the government on that, and we have governmental organizations like Enterprise Lithuania, Invest Lithuania, and other agencies that do support. They do have programs, and it's an early start to creating an ecosystem, but there's a good examples, as I mentioned before, to follow. So I think that firstly, what is needed is the identification of the specific gaps, because sometimes we don't usually see what we're missing or what we're overviewing and do not emphasize enough, and how to make the change, make plans and analyze the resources that you have and finances that you really needed to move forward. So it's all about, I think, the collaborative point of view in the ecosystem, and then not hiding and not and bravely identifying what are our gaps. Even sometimes you have to admit the faults that you have. So it's I think that's my take on that, your question.
No, perfect. And I'm going to keep I know startups top of the mind issues are around funding. So Iris, I'm going to request you to give us an investor's view regarding what early stage funds are looking for from founders like the ones BIRAC have so successfully grown and supported, given your experience with the Imperial College Fund.
Yes, thank you very much again, Gitika. I will refer to both Imperial College, which I chair, and also the Cambridge seed fund, of which I'm on the investment committee. And Cambridge is a good example of a fund that started with an investment from alumni, £4 million, and we're now sitting on nearly £100 million. We have created exits for over £2 billion, and the most important thing that we empowered so many fantastic entrepreneurs and brought great products to the market that all of us really enjoy. So it's a joy. It can be done, and as I said before, it's a mutual interest of the entrepreneurs and the fund. We spend a lot of time in these two funds to bring the entrepreneurs to be investment ready, to understand the market. When you have a product, so many founders love their product, which is a prerequisite, it's your baby. But you have to be objective. Don't lose your objectivity. Ask your market, does the market need your product? Who is going to pay for it? And how much? Is the business plan right? First thing that I look at, of course, in early stage, we look at people. We need to trust them. We need to feel that we can, go when we get to a brick wall, we will be able to help them jump, or they will show us the way even better to jump it. We look at the technology in the market. Is the market big enough? If the market starts, if the total addressable market is small, then you will struggle. so we would look at, again, at the team. The team needs to know what they're talking. They need to have a plan. And don't be afraid of the plans. The plans are rarely really happen from the beginning till the end of it. But you have to have a watertight story. We want to understand that you understand the market, you understand the struggles, you understand the challenges, you understand your space and your place. We are looking for, as I said, solid understanding of the finances as well, plans to the future. How many rounds will they need? When do they think they will need? What are the milestones that they will they think they will need, and when will they do them? Will they have enough time between the next milestone and the next investment? So many companies say, yeah, I'll have the milestone in 1.5 years. That's when I need the money. But you need actually the milestone to be about half a year before you need the money, before you run out of money. Yeah. So these are the things that we look into. It's almost technical. I mean, we have like, if you know, we have a template of slides that need to be filled in. And if entrepreneurs go through these steps, you know, one after the other and tick them off, I think they will make it.
Fantastic. And I know that policymakers are really now also providing so much support and enabling startups to do that. Mamta, you have some initiatives that UK is running with with DPT, right? About understanding and overcoming barriers for women entrepreneurs. We have just about a couple of minutes on the panel now, so maybe you could talk about some of the things.
Yes, and Iris, thank you very much. Those are exactly the kind of things that we're doing in the funds that we manage, and our funds are very, very focused on development sectors that have a development result, also in geographies which are low resource. So that's one part of our work that we do a lot, and the other is around the ecosystem. And the other piece of work that we've done with DBT, which I wanted to especially signal with partnership with UKRI and us, is around looking at solutions, high level solutions to maternal health issues. That was phase 1 of our work, where it was not just India, we're looking at Asia and Africa, because many times these solutions, these devices have a lot of market and use even in countries which are struggling with similar issues. And one example of that is this pre-eclampsia device that's now on, and it's very low cost, portable. So the idea there was to get researchers from different backgrounds together, and there how we ensured was that looking at the data that's coming in, testing with women, and making sure that women were also part of the core research team, because that was a very strong mandate that we had. And now building on that second phase, we are discussing the second phase with DBT, where we're also again going to be looking at building on these successes, identifying certain sectors, biotech sectors, but also hopefully also build in a more of a market access role in it. How do you actually help companies take it to market? So yes, very important areas. Working when all of them have been my gurus. I mean, I've learned so much from this, and I'm going to take real tips on how do we do better in all of in our work. So thank you.
No, I know. Thanks very much, Mamta. And I know that we're at the end of the time for this panel, and we have Dr. Renu Swaroop, who's also joined us. I think we really need to do separate sessions, individual sessions with each of the panelists today, and especially with Anat and Kavita, with whom we've not been able to do justice due to time. So we will definitely come back to each of you for longer, more detailed sessions as well, because there's a lot to learn. But from our side as TIE Delhi NCR, we're delighted to have the opportunity to work on all of these things together. And with that, I will actually hand it over back to Taranjeet with a big thank you to my fantastic panelists. This is one of the best that I've had, so I'm really happy to be with them. And a very good evening to you, Dr. Renu Swaroop. Happy to see you here as well.
Thank you so much, Gitika. Thank you so much to all the esteemed speakers for this interesting session. Thank you once again. And point noted, yes, we'll certainly keep extended time for such kind of sessions. We don't want to miss any speakers with their very fascinating insights. Thank you so much. Thank you. So now we will start with the award ceremony. We are honored to have with us today Dr. Kiran Majumdar-Shaw, Executive Chairperson, Biocon. May I request Dr. Renu Swarup, Secretary DBT, for her opening and welcome address for the award function at Women Entrepreneurs Conclave. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Taranjeet, and good evening to you. Thank you so much, Kiran, for being here. Geetika, the entire panel, excellent. I know Kiran has to leave at 8 o'clock. And I also have one news for you, which will be disappointing for everyone. The Honorable Minister is in Kerala. She is traveling in a remote area. I just got a call from her, and that's the reason I got a little delayed coming in here. She's not being able to establish network connections. She's trying very hard, but she says if she does that, it'll only be after 8:30 when she'll have access, and she doesn't want to keep us waiting. So my suggestion is that, Taranjeet, we move ahead with quickly the awards with Dr. Majumdar being there. Let her make her speech because that's more important, and I'll speak after Dr. Kiran leaves because we also have to hear the three startup journeys, and I will definitely stay to hear that as well. So Taranjeet, maybe you want to proceed with the awards. And Geetika, I heard you say that you've not done justice to the panelists. This is in fact one of the key message the minister gave me just now when she spoke with me. She said, I promise you that I need to do a separate session because I was looking forward to being here after she read all about this panel that we sent. And she has asked us to arrange a special women entrepreneurial session where she will come in and join us again. So it's back to you people. As soon as you can do that, we'll definitely find an opportunity to have her with us and maybe have a more extended discussion with all your panelists, which we left out. So a continuation of the Global Bio India into the second session as we move forward. So Taranjeet, over to you. You may like to now invite Dr. Kiran Majumdar and have the awards and move ahead. Thank you. I'll speak after that.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. So yes, I know Dr. Kiran has to leave early, so we'll proceed with the awards first, with your permission, ma'am. So now I'll request Dr. Renu Swarup, Secretary DBT, and Dr. Kiran Majumdar-Shaw, Executive Chairperson, Biocon, to commence the award ceremony. Ma'am, maybe please announce the awards. BIRAC, a public sector undertaking of Department of Biotechnology, has been playing a significant role in promoting biotech women entrepreneurship in the country. Women in Entrepreneurial Research Winner Award is one such effort to boost the women entrepreneurship. This is a dedicated award to reward and recognize women entrepreneurs in the biotech sector. The award is announced annually in partnership with TIE Delhi NCR. Under this national award program, 15 women entrepreneurs working on the innovative ideas that have large societal impact are awarded rupees 5 lakhs each, along with mentoring, handholding, and opportunity to participate in an intensive and customized accelerator program. After the accelerator program, the 15 contestants compete through business pitching for the award of rupees 25 lakhs each to the 3 final winners. So far, 45 awardees have been felicitated through its 3 successful editions. May I request now Dr. Renu Swarup and Dr. Kiran Majumdar-Shaw to announce the 3 winners of Winner Award.
Go ahead, Taranjeet, from my side.
Thank you. Thank you, Kiran ma'am. So our first winner is Dr. Mausumi Mondal from Malipatra Nutraceuticals Private Limited. Malipatra has developed novel technique to grow cordyceps mushrooms on non-vegetarian and vegetarian media in an artificial environment condition within 60 days. The product cordyceps acts as detoxifier and improves overall health and potential antioxidant and anti-aging agent. It was also launched as an immunity booster during the COVID-19 pandemic by Honorable Deputy Chief Minister of Karnataka. Our second winner is Menka Gurnani from Hida Life Sciences LLP. Heda Life Sciences has developed a natural vitamin D source product called the Bello, which is chemical-free, 100% vegan, whole food nutrition from vegetable, cost-effective and cooking stable. They are targeting the vitamin D deficiency with a vegan source vitamin D. Our third winner is Dr. Ruby Gupta from Diocese Bioinnovations Private Limited. Diocese has developed a product called Gelnex, a novel, cost-effective and sustainable source of edible hydrocolloid by utilizing tamarind seeds. Gelnex will replace pectin in the food industries, which is currently being imported to India. So with this, I would like to congratulate all the winners. And now, may I request Dr. Kiran Majumdar-Shaw, Executive Chairperson Biocon, to share her inspiring story from starting a small startup to a billionaire businesswoman today. Ma'am, I'm sure every woman entrepreneur looks up to you when they embark on their entrepreneurial journey. We would really love to hear some words of encouragement from you. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Taranjeet. And, thank you, Renu, for allowing me to go before you. First and foremost, I'd like to congratulate the winners. I think I want to start by saying that, it's about, every entrepreneurial journey begins with an idea, no matter how big or small it is. And it's about taking that idea to the market. And that journey of taking that idea to the market, of course, is not an easy process, because it requires capital, it requires talent, both scientific and commercial talent. And then, of course, it requires, the strategy to make it into a commercial success, which, of course, has to be, again, backed with a lot of funding. Now, of course, I have, created a business over 4 decades. And my idea when I started the company was about developing enzyme technologies based on microbial fermentations. I was a fermentation scientist, and one thing I want to tell all women entrepreneurs, science knows no gender barriers. That's one thing I taught myself. I said, I don't want to sort of lock myself into a situation where I feel that just because I'm a woman, that I don't have the opportunities ahead of me. I realized that actually it's in our minds. You've just got to basically focus on the opportunity, focus on the science-led opportunity in my case. And therefore, all the women whom you just talked about who won these awards, it's about that scientific idea. It's about how do you convert that science into a marketable product. That's what it was about. My idea at that time was about developing enzyme technologies that could replace chemical technologies and focus on eco-friendly solutions. That was what my purpose and my business strategy was all about. And as you can imagine, in the late 70s and early 80s, it was an idea ahead of its time, because people were only focused on cheap technologies and they didn't care whether it polluted or not. And here I was trying to replace those technologies with what appeared to be more expensive technologies, but actually in the long run, it was far more cost effective and environmentally sustainable than what they could ever imagine. Today, 40 years later, I can tell you that many of the technologies that we developed are so successfully implemented today by many, many industries. And I really feel happy about that, because when I first used to approach these companies, their first answer was, I don't think we are interested. And then I would spend a lot of time telling them why they should be interested. I also sold the enzyme business in 2007 for about $150 million, which I think at that time was a lot of successful dollars for me, because I'd started with 10,000 rupees in the bank. And then to create all that business, which was worth $150 million, was a huge sense of satisfaction for me, because I felt that at least I'd created this kind of value from that business. And that business I sold to my biggest global competitors, Novozymes. And today Novozymes tells me that the business I sold to them is now over $500 million and counting. So I think that tells you how you can actually make a success with a small idea. Many years later, and that was just my one technology. It's not like, Novozymes says that it's such a profitable part of their technology that, most of that $500 million almost goes right down to their bottom line. That's how successful that technology has been for them, which started with a small idea in my lab, in my garage. So that's the kind of journey I've had. But of course, it hasn't been an easy journey. I mean, people see me today as a biotech billionaire, and they only see the successful side of me, but I don't think they realize all the challenges I went through. Of course, I went through funding challenges. Of course, I had the same kind of problems that all of you face in terms of accessing capital. And remember, in those days, I was not as lucky to have BIRAC. There was no BIRAC when I started. So I had to go begging to banks saying, please lend me money. All of you have got BIRAC, which is doing a stupendous job supporting all of you with that risk capital, seed capital. And I didn't have that. And then people didn't want to work for a biotech company and a woman because they felt there was no job security. And they said, what kind of a business are you trying to run? So, I had all those credibility hurdles to overcome, but step by step, I did that. Then, 20 years after I started developing enzyme technologies and started becoming successful, I decided, hey, I can also make biopharmaceuticals using the same technology. So my message to you is try to leverage technologies in different ways. Try and reinvent your businesses, and refresh your businesses. I mean, COVID itself has taught us to pivot and be agile and even change some of our business strategies in a very short period of time. And that's what I did. Instead of just making enzymes, I said, hey, let me try and make biopharmaceuticals. Today, my entire focus is on biopharmaceuticals. We are one of the largest insulin makers in the world. We are one of the largest biosimilar companies in the world. All that has happened because we leveraged our technologies very well. And it took a lot of, a risk to do that because, people were not betting on this sector at all. In fact, a lot of people used to tell me, why are you making this bet on such difficult sectors? And I said, if I don't, then who's going to make those difficult bets? Because I'm a risk taker. And by the way, don't ever believe that women can't take risk because very often venture VCs always tell women, women are not risk takers. Women are not bold. Women are not daring. And that's all rubbish. Because I think when I look at myself, I'm the biggest risk taker in the pharma sector. Much more than what my male counterparts are. Because I took a big risk, not even knowing what the regulatory pathway was for biosimilars, not even knowing whether I would succeed, whether the markets would open for me. There were a lot of uncertainties. But I realized that I had to take that risk because there was a high reward if that risk worked. And it has worked. So, I think I want to tell all of you that an entrepreneurial journey is about taking risk. It's about believing in what you're doing and believing in the risk you're taking. Okay, and I'm not saying take wild risks. Take informed risks, make good judgment calls, but stick with that belief in your business purpose. And I just believe that every entrepreneur's journey is fraught with a lot of challenges, but every time you overcome each challenge, you feel more confident. And my entire journey has been about that. It's been about going from one challenge to another, one risk to another. And every time I overcame that challenge or, mitigated the risk, I felt, wow, I think I know how to run this business. So I think that's what it's all about. It hasn't been easy. Of course, I've had the luxury of building my business over 4 decades. And I guess I became a billionaire after 3 decades. So it's not something that happens instantly. It's not like a tech company that can become a unicorn in 4 or 5 years. I think the biotech industry, because of the kind of development timelines it takes us, is a long journey. But nevertheless, I think it's a very fulfilling journey because of the impact we are making in terms of various parts of our business. So whether it's agriculture, whether it is healthcare, whether it is environmental sustainability, whether it's biofuels, I think there's so much to be done. Bio IT is also a big opportunity. So I just want to end by saying, I think it's great to celebrate, entrepreneurship and women entrepreneurship. I'm really happy that 1/3 of our 3,000 startups in the country have got either a woman founder or a woman co-founder. And that tells you how well populated this ecosystem is in terms of women entrepreneurs. And one of the things I also see is that there are lots of women in many teams. In fact, I have to get off this call because I'm attending a board meeting of a very successful biotech company in the US, whose board I recently joined, which is actually founded by a woman, Daphne Zohar. She runs a company called Pure Tech, which today is she's done very well, and we just listed on the NASDAQ, and of course we shot to multi-billion dollars of market cap. So I think that's the opportunity that we have. And I wish you all the best. You of course have got a wonderful person in Renu Swarup, who has been the biggest support and the biggest flag bearer for biotechnology. And I join her in that. So I will have to drop off now, but all the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kiran ma'am, for your valuable guidance to all our entrepreneurs. I would now request Dr. Renu Swarup for her address. Ma'am, please.
Thank you very much, Taranjeet. We all heard Kiran with her wonderful journey, and first of all, congratulations to the winners. You have really excelled. You've been able to achieve this important success by getting the winner awards, and these are your stepping stones into your next and further career that you move on of much more success. Kiran very correctly put it in that it's a risky journey. It's difficult to sort of comprehend the challenges which you will face, and compounded challenges, because you have an entrepreneur itself is a challenge. And as many put it, being a woman entrepreneur makes it more challenging, not because you are really in a different stream. It's because the mindset which is there of how are women going to take it forward. And she was very correct when she said people feel that is it appropriate to invest in women-led companies? Will they take the risk? Will they be bold to be able to move ahead? I totally agree with her, but I think over these many years in which we've been able to nurture this ecosystem, we have seen that there has been probably more passion and more dedication and more commitment, more drive, and a very articulate vision with which the women have led their companies. And that probably is also because of the inherent strengths that they have. That really could be a gender issue, but otherwise, there is no other gender issue in looking at any entrepreneurial growth to happen. Challenges which are there are for entrepreneurs as a whole. And I think that really is what ecosystem we need to look at and what we need to support. We have, and TIE has been working with BIRAC so closely. TIE itself has got its large network. And I think in starting these TIE BIRAC winner awards, we may think that they are few in number. We've got 15 women that we've felicitate during the year, handhold them, and then 3 winners at the end, put them through this mentoring acceleration program. I think it's not really just the numbers that we're talking about, but it's also important because the ecosystem that we have created is now getting the advantage of having these women entrepreneurs. As I said in the beginning, their ideas are not probably different from their male colleagues, but we do have them as role models then. And these role models then excite many of the other younger women entrepreneurs who want to get into it. And that's the multiplier effect. We always look at a multiplier effect. So it's not one winner is adding just one number to the larger pool that we have. And we just had the bioeconomy report released a short while ago in in the startup conclave. And I was very pleased when we were informed that the number, like Kiran said, is about 1,000 out of the 3,000. But I was informed that that number is now gradually moving to be inching towards 40%. So good. That's really what we want. And it's a gender diversity. So we definitely want to have a balance between that. We don't want it to be totally overtaken by the women, which I'm confident they can. But the gender balance is always so important. And why is it important? Because it brings you the diversity, diverse views, and that's really what our strength is. We have today a very robust ecosystem for this. And what we have done from DBT and BIRAC is to set up these special women incubation centers, these special schemes. And each time I go to any of them or launch them, I always say, remember one thing, we are not doing it because the women need special attention. It's not because they're compromising on quality. It's just that we are mainstreaming them. And once you mainstream them and give them an equal opportunity, give them a level playing field, they will definitely be there to take it forward on their own strength. Initially, yes, we've had these issues about the financial investments not being really available to women, more so, as I said, because of the mindset. But the moment you see successful cases, it moves on. We also hope that now that we have, and biotechnology is one field because biological sciences anyway attracts a lot of women to it. And even if you look at the numbers that we have in the Department of Biotechnology, first of all, the women who are employed in DBT and our autonomous institutes itself is nearing 50%. I don't talk about BIRAC because BIRAC, not by design, but that's really how it is. We have, I think earlier at one point of time, it was nearly about 75 to 80% women, but I kept insisting on a gender balance. And now I'm told that it's just about 50-50%. But that I said, it's not by design. They've all come in there by their merit. And this I can actually say that each officer who's been brought into the BIRAC system, of course, because I was part of their selection process, they just stood out when we sat in these interview committees. So that was on their own merit. And that's exactly what is happening in this, in the competitive grant scheme that we do within DBT. We started with about 15 to 20%, and now we are nearing about 40% of our research investigators are women. So our pipeline is getting very robust. We are getting a large number, and I always say that we talk about very few numbers at the top, but unless you have a strong pipeline, you have a strong base, how are you going to have those numbers at the top? It can't be an inverted pyramid in any way. You must have a strong base, only then you'll have more numbers at the top. So I'm so glad that TAI is working with BIRAC to create this very strong foundation. What you're doing is actually you're creating a very, very strong foundation. And this foundation is now going to give us the results that we've been looking forward to. Not just within our own country, but in the global community as well. I'm so glad that this panel today, you had global examples that were shared. And we always feel proud that in India, many of the policies that we've had, many of our policy enablers, our various schemes, give us an opportunity to be able to connect with the global ecosystem. And we are working with them to bring in the best practices. And many times our own schemes are looked at as best practices, which other countries also take forward. So I think that really is our strength. Moving ahead, I wish all of you good luck. I hope we can scale this up hugely. Already, I think we have 5 or 6 Taranjit incubators which are specifically for women. But I think the whole purpose is try and see how we can now expand this base by even going to tier 2 and tier 3 cities. We have a lot of talent there. But at the moment, what is happening is we are sort of more or less getting restricted to these centers and clusters that we have set up. maybe we can expand our outreach. We can do these hand-holding exercises, which you all are doing. And each winner in this winner award and the 45 that you've had so far should become a champion for taking this forward. And that is really what we would like to see, that each one of them then becomes a mentor and a champion for many more women to move ahead. I hope we can set up, and Geetika will be very happy to work with you to set up and see how we can have some sort of an acceleration program where you could probably look at your entire cohort of all the winner awardees that you've had so far and have a separate discussion with them to see what are the challenges they have faced after you have selected them as winners. We should not just select them as winners and then leave them to fend for themselves. See where their challenges are. Because I keep saying this, and in this Global Bio India, in every session I have gone, I've emphasized on moving from scalability to sustainability. We've scaled them up, but we must make sure that this is a sustainable enterprise. So maybe have separate sessions with just this whole cohort of 45 women that you selected. Bring in more from your incubation centers and all those who are within our ecosystem. I think BIRAC itself is supporting about 20% women entrepreneurs. And then let us identify what challenges are they actually facing and see if we can identify those, bring in some more specific actions that we need to take and just mainstream them. Couple of years down the line, you will not need to have a separate women startup conclave. They will be part of the main system, and they themselves will be the flag bearers and the torch bearers for you to be able to show how this country's whole ecosystem is growing. So thank you, all the best to each of you, and we look forward to your successful enterprises as you move forward. So thank you, and over to you, Taranjeet.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your words of encouragement. And we have noted down your suggestions. Next time you will hear with the plan ready for the accelerated program for all the winner awardees together. Thank you, ma'am. And with your permission, ma'am, maybe call upon our awardees to share their incredible journeys now. Thank you, ma'am. So I would like to call upon our first winner awardee, Dr. Mausumi Mondal from Mallipatra Nutraceutical Private Limited. Dr. Mausumi, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Can I start?
Yes, Dr. Mausumi, we can see your screen. Please start.
Okay. Thank you. Very good evening to Dr. Renu Sharu and all the dignitaries present here. It gives me immense pleasure to be receiving this prestigious award. Myself, Dr. Mausumi, Director of Mallipatra Nutraceutical Private Limited. To share my journey, I came from a small village in West Bengal, studied in Bengali medium, had moved to Mysore for my higher studies, where I completed my post-graduation and doctorate degree from CSRTI Mysore. As a researcher, I was very much fascinated on working with waste materials being generated and conversion into value-added material for the benefit of the society. That's when I started working in the field of sericulture, where I worked on the utilization of the silk reeling waste, which is one of our major waste produce in the silk textile industry. For my research work, I have received the Women Scientist Award from DST. With a vision to start my own company, I started working on the cultivation of Himalayan mushroom called cordyceps. This is supported by BIRAC, and we are also supported by the government of Karnataka. Mallipatra was initiated in 2016. We are an all-women-led enterprise. We have a DSI recognized R&D unit and have established FSSI and ISO certified production facility. Coming to next, our technology, cordyceps is a medicinal mushroom found only in high altitude region of the Himalayas. This is not a normal mushroom. It is known to have wide spectrum of medicinal properties. Raitya Samhita has mentioned cordyceps as a Bhu-Sanjeevani. This is because you name a disease and cordyceps has the cure property for it. This is known as Himalayan Viagra. In nature, cordyceps grows on insect and it takes 365 days to complete life cycle. The quality of cordyceps varies because of inconsistency of host in nature. We have developed this technology by growing these cordyceps on consistency novel host. Look at this. Here you can see, you can play this. Here you can see how cordyceps is infecting on the insect and growing on it. It takes 1 year to complete the life cycle. Once the insect is infected, it mummified and the fruiting body of the cordyceps gone from the head of the insect. Yeah. Our vision is to make the endangered medicinal mushroom available at an affordable price. We grow cordyceps on silkworm pupa, which comprises of 80% waste from silk reeling industry. This has the synergetic medicinal benefits of cordyceps and silkworm pupa. To cater the majority vegetarian population, we have developed the novel technology for growing these cordyceps on vegetarian substrate. The clinical trials reveal that 3 to 6 grams of cordyceps per day can cure many disorders like cancer, kidney, liver disorder, lungs, and respiratory infection. Coming to our USP, our USP is we grow cordyceps in 60 days as opposed to 365 days in nature. It has consistent quality of bioactive component available in vegetarian and non-vegetarian form at affordable price. Our product is available in the form of fruiting body, powder, capsule, infusion, etc. Coming to our these are some of our awards, and our products were launched by Dr. Renu Saru. And during this COVID, our product was launched by Honorable Deputy CM of Karnataka as immunity booster for COVID patient. We received the Immunity Champion Award of India. This is our driven and passionate team, and I am happy for this opportunity where my journey as a woman entrepreneur has been recognized by the Government of India, and we are grateful to BIRAC, CCAM, KITS, BBC and SAR MVIT for their support throughout my journey. Jai Hind. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mausami. May I now request our second entrepreneur, Ms. Menka Gurnani from Hida Life Sciences LLP. Over to you, Menka.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, Menka, you are audible, but your screen is...
and my screen is visible now?
We cannot see the content on your screen as of now, Menka. Yes, we can see now. We can see.
Yeah, I have shared. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Should I go for the full slideshow?
Yes, please.
Yeah. It is a graceful moment for me to receive this prestigious Director Winner Award. And on this occasion, I have given opportunity to give some highlights of my work on to combat nutrient deficiency by developing natural food sources. When I have studied in the depth, vitamin D deficiency is a global health issue. And when I go into the depth of Indian scenario, more than 80% population of India, either men, women, or children, are vitamin D deficient, and every fourth children is suffering from the stunt growth. Further, the reason is to study the vitamin D deficiency in depth is because the role of vitamin D is not only restricted to the absorption of calcium in our body, but it also plays a very important role in prevention of cancer, type 1 diabetes, heart diseases, and osteoporosis. So, what has made this vitamin D deficiency so structural in our society? Because of the poor sun exposure, our focus is only on curative therapy medicine.
Sorry to interrupt. Sorry to interrupt, Miss Menka. We are sharing your screen from our end. Maybe there is some issue in the screen sharing. Yes.
I think there is a no screen share is required. I can complete.
All right, please.
Okay, so we can save time on that. Yeah, so because of poor sun exposure and laxity in daily diet, and our focus is only on curative therapy, which has made vitamin D deficiencies so structural in our nation. Further, the nutrients which are medicines which are available in the market, they are from animal source. They are not from the plant or vegan source, and so hence they are not suitable for the fortification program. Hence, we have studied this gap, and by considering the strong agriculture backbone of our nation, we have developed a natural vitamin D food source dibelo from mushrooms. This innovative ingredient is 100% natural. This innovative ingredient is 100% natural, microplant and microbial source suitable to all age group, and you can add to any food, and this will not alter the taste and texture of your food. With all these features, it makes it very suitable for the food fortification program at large scale. Presently, we are catering to B2C and B2B segment to disperse for the disbursement of product and to fight the vitamin D deficiency. But to reach the mass population, I want to express my readiness to today. She is not present, and we can share her a message that to our Honorable Minister, Sri Cabinet Minister Sri Smriti Irani, also that we express our readiness to give up. If given opportunity, we can reach to the first priority population of our country, children and the pregnant and lactating women, by incorporating this ingredient to food which is served to around 12 crore children through the midday meal program and ICC programs. This will lead to the very high increase in the women empowerment, healthy India, and further we will not be dependent on the other sources and countries to fulfill the basic need of nutrient of our nation. Jai Hind. I'm very much thankful for BIRAC and all the panel to given us opportunity to speak on our work and express our views on that. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Menka. And now I request our third entrepreneur, Dr. Ruby Gupta, Diocese Bio Innovation Private Limited, to share her story. Dr. Ruby, we can share your slides. You can start speaking. Dr. Ruby, please unmute yourself. Dr. Ruby, can you hear us? You can unmute yourself and start speaking.
just speak about your journey. Share your journey.
Dr. Ruby, please unmute yourself. I think she's facing some internet glitch. So, ma'am, if you allow us, we can
Sure.
We can have a story published later, maybe.
Sure. I think that will be good. You can have a presentation maybe shared.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sure. Thank you so much. And with your permission, ma'am, we have come to an end to this session now. And on behalf of Department of Biotechnology, BIRAC, and all our partners, I would like to our special thanks to Dr. Kiran Majumdar-Shaw. And to you, ma'am, I would take this opportunity to say this, that if all our women entrepreneurs have same level of energy and commitments as you and Dr. Kiran have, we won't be needing such separate conclaves to promote women entrepreneurship in India. So thank you so much once again, ma'am, for being our role models for our future women entrepreneurs. I would also like to thank Ms. Gitika Dayal, Executive Directors, TIE Delhi NCR, for their efforts and commitment to promote women entrepreneurship in India. To all our winners and everyone who took time to be a part of this conclave and showing support and belief in our future women entrepreneurs. Thank you so much. I wish you all a very good night. Thank you and take care. Thank you, ma'am.